have been talking about the passion that we have to see Zimbabwe change, to see development happening in Zimbabwe, in your own areas where you've actually come from. Now, this whole concept of hometown association actually does that. It provides us an opportunity to actually play a part ourselves without looking at anyone else, ourselves, in terms of helping our relatives, our friends, our communities. Okay? So I'll say a little bit about the background of hometown associations. Now, the hometown association concept has been around for more than 50 years. Now, the idea is that those people who have gone outside of the country from a specific location or community, who have now developed networks and have built up resources, can play a part by going back to their specific areas where they come from, or areas where they have interest, and initiate development projects to help to move their communities and ultimately their countries forward. So there are many examples of countries that have done this. The Israelis, for example, the Mexicans. That's a very common example that is quoted when you look at the literature around hometown associations. They have managed to organize themselves such that in parts of Mexico, if you move into a certain area, you can actually tell that there's a hometown association there because they have got tarred roads, or that the roads are actually in a state of good repair. They've got schools that are functioning, schools that have got textbooks. They've got orphans who are being looked after. They have small micro projects helping widows and so on and so forth. Those are the kind of things that people have managed to do. So what does it involve? So the whole thing really, it's a very simple concept. Say I'm from Zengeza 3, Ruchengeto Street, for example. I put together a group of people who I know who are here in the United Kingdom. Some might actually be in South Africa. Some might actually be in America or in Canada, wherever they are. The geographic location does not necessarily matter. But they've got an interest in helping Zengeza High 1 school, secondary school, to get textbooks, to pay bursary fees for some of the students that are from around that community who are bright but can't go forward with their education, for example. So the idea is you then come together as a collective and put together a plan. And so you say yourself, you are now, say, one hometown association. Yeah? So you register yourself as that association. And you put together your priorities. Now, the priorities are not put together only by you discussing what you want to do here in the UK. You involve the people on the ground in Zengeza. They are the ones who drive what is needed in terms of priority. Your role as a hometown association outside of that is to facilitate and to provide expertise and resources. Yeah? Mobilize your networks to make sure that you then provide and make things happen on the ground. Yeah? So if it's school uniforms that need to be purchased, if it's sewing machines that need to be made, bought so that some women can actually produce these uniforms and sell, and not just for the particular school, but also make others for other schools and generate income, which they can also use to help pay school, subsidize school fees for people who are being affected on the ground. So the whole concept is really about connecting communities, those who have left and those that have remained, and finding practical solutions to practical issues. We're not talking about airy-fairy things, things that we can't change. We're talking about things that we can change, or in a day-to-day scenario. So it has worked in places like Mexico, it's worked in places like Israel. The Guatemalans have done the same thing. The people from, I've been speaking to, or rather as a representative of the ZTFG, we did some research, and we spoke to the Haitians. In Haiti they've had earthquakes, very serious earthquakes that have decimated the infrastructure and had an impact in terms of health institutions, education institutions, and so on and so forth. And the hometown associations there have had a massive impact in terms of helping the process of recovery and initiating projects, developmental projects, to actually help their specific communities. So we've been talking to them and getting advice as to how they went about setting up these associations. Because what we didn't want to do was to reinvent the wheel. We wanted to get ideas from those who have done it before, so that we can learn lessons and implement the same thing for ourselves as Zimbabweans. Okay? So having had that kind of research done, we then put together a document. Some of you might have received this concept, this paper, which I produced on behalf of the ZDFG, the potential for diaspora-led community development. So this document is available to anyone who wants it. We can circulate it. And in it, it articulates the case for hometown associations with a series of questions, because I try to make it easier for people to connect. So it asks a series of questions and provide answers. So the question, for example, is, what is a hometown association? So it explains what it is. What can they do? Where have they worked before? And it gives you examples of different projects that have happened in different communities, in different parts of the world, where the hometown associations have had an impact. And one of the things that we are hoping to do is to zone in on remittances. That is the money that you and me send to Zimbabwe, to our mother, to our grandmother, to whoever it is that we want. Now, Mr. Charumbila talked about the GDP in Zimbabwe, the makeup of the GDP. So in other words, the money, the total wealth of the country, as it were. So, and what contributes to that? He talked about mining, industry, all sorts of things, tourism. One thing he didn't say is around the remittances. I mean, clearly he wasn't thinking the kind of mindset that I'm thinking about. So I'm not criticizing him for that. But a study was done here by the World Bank to see, looking at how much money as Zimbabweans we send to Zimbabwe itself. And in 2007, when this study was done, remittances were 7.2%, contributed 7.2% of GDP. Now that's quite a lot of money. It was actually more than mining at that time, yes. It was more than, the other thing was, it was more than the ODA assistance that comes, overseas development assistance, money that is sent into Zimbabwe from overseas organizations. So we've got a lot of money that we have outside of the country. And if we can organize ourselves, we can definitely make an impact on the ground. Okay? So, what has happened since? We are not just about a talk show. We're not here to talk and talk. We want action. Many people can talk, but very few people can walk the walk. And this is what we are on about. We want to walk the walk. So, we have now got a timeline, okay, that spells out what is going to happen next. So we have done the research, we have done the planning work, we've been talking to different people. We are now at a position where we've agreed that we are going to register a Zimbabwe Hometown Association Resource Group. Now that resource group is going to help to train, to facilitate the association's work. So your work, if you set up a hometown association for Dotito, Area 1 or whatever it is, the idea is that you would then approach the resource group, the hometown association resource group, to help you with things like financial literacy. Some people don't know how to put together financial statements. They don't know how to put together project proposals. We've got people with experience in project management and putting together proposals, which have been funded. We have people who have been looking at and approving projects for implementation. Zimbabweans I'm talking about, who can then come and help you and your association look at your project and not steal it. Like what happened to the gentleman. They will look at that project and fine-tune it and give you the necessary advice for you to implement that project successfully. So we have the Zimbabwe Hometown Association is being registered. I think by next week that registration is complete. We've done all the necessary paperwork, apart from a few signatures in terms of the people who are going to be, we are going to register as a community interest company. Yeah? So there are some people who are going to be registered as directors of this Hometown Association Resource Group. Right? And the idea is that it's a very transparent process. So everything that is going to happen will be open to you, anyone else who's Zimbabwean, who's interested, to come and inspect whether it's the financial statements, whether it's the way that people are doing the business. You'll be able to inspect that at various meetings. So if there's a bank book, the bank book will be available with a statement of accounts for anybody who wishes to see them, to be able to inspect. And if you're not happy in the right spirit, you then say, oh, I'm not sure what happened here. You know, can you explain what happened on this point? So that you can get the confidence that this organization is working for the development of Zimbabweans, not to put people's money in people's pockets. We are not being funded by anybody at the moment. We are self-funding. The little money that we have is from people within the organization, the Zimbabwean community, who are contributing into the pot. No one has been benefited or has been given any money from the World Bank or from anyone to do this kind of work. It's about Zimbabweans taking responsibility. And we would want people who want to donate to this group to do the same. But at the moment, we are not taking those donations because the registrations are not complete. The financial statements, the arrangements, therefore, are not yet in place. But once they are in place so that we can track these monies and we can have accountability, then we can actually say, yes, this is now what is happening. And you will know why you're putting your money in. At the moment, keep your money, give it to your relatives, wherever it is. Help a child who needs to go to school. But a time will come where we are going to say, look, the resource group, the Hometown Association Resource Group itself, we will need some sort of financial support to keep it going. We have seen it demonstrated in this country that when people have got an interest in anything, they support it financially. You put money into it and you hold people to account. You put people in places who you can trust and hold to account. Yeah? Absolute transparency. So the resource group is going to be registered, hopefully by next week. What we are encouraging people to do, people like yourselves, is to identify what they want to do in your specific areas, wherever you come from, whatever interest you have, and put together a proposal, a plan, even if it's a rudimentary plan, a crude plan, something that will need to be helped, to be shaped out, and to be edited for you. Put it together in preparation for this, because there will then be a launch. I'm hoping that by sort of the end of February, we would have announced the date where we're going to launch this formally, the Hometown Association concept, so that people can come up and sign and register the associations, the names of the associations, and the kind of support that they'll be looking to get. So then we can then put the resources in place, so that we can have workshops in Manchester, workshops in Leicester, or wherever it is, for people to get help in specific areas such as financial literacy, registering, organizing their hometown associations, and so on and so forth. But the key thing is for you to be able to speak to stakeholders on the ground. Now, the Mexicans, they've talked to the Mexican government, and we've done the same. At some point last year, Minister Coupe came, Deputy Minister Coupe came, and we had a meeting with them. And it was at the time, we just had a meeting with the World Bank to talk about the issues, the Hometown Associations concept. And it's something that they connect with because they've seen it before. And they were saying that there is money available at some point for very credible projects to be funded through the World Bank to help develop the communities. So we've got the networks, we've got the links, there's still a lot more work to be done, but you have got a job now of thinking about and articulating the kind of things that you want to do in a very formal way, and perhaps thinking about a hometown association name, so that when the time comes, we are ready to run with it and to start actually do something on the ground. Yeah? So that's what's going to happen. Now I'm just going to close. I don't want to take too much time, because anyone who wants to know how it will work, we can send you the document. Some thought has been given into how the whole thing will be coordinated on the ground. So in Zimbabwe itself, in terms of supporting this initiative, we will have people in charge of different provinces or areas. Yeah? So there will be somebody who will be supporting hometown associations, say in Mashingo. Yeah? Some people, someone in charge of helping associations in say, Mashonaland, East, or whatever it is. So the information is here. And we are welcome to, we are asking you for any advice or contributions as to how this thing will take shape. It's not too late for you to contribute your ideas as to how this thing can actually get off the ground. But it's something that I believe in. It's something that a lot of us believe in. We believe that it can work and that we can make it happen.